Come with tired and broken spirit, he welcomes you with love. Come confused in need welcomes you with love. Come with joy and come with sorrow. He welcomes you with love. God welcomes us all with love. He never turns away those coming. He welcomes you with love. He never turns away those calling. He welcomes you with love. He never turns away a seeker. He welcomes you with love. God welcomes us all with love. His arms stretch wider than our failures. He welcomes you with love. And no past fault pulls off the Savior. He welcomes you with love. Jesus, He is so much greater. He welcomes you with love. God welcomes us all with love. His heart is kind, His love is patient. He welcomes us with love. And there's no need for fear or acting. He welcomes you with love. His hands, they offer warmth, inclusion. God welcomes you with love. God welcomes us all in love.
Good morning to you all, and as we sang, you are most welcome to Shabbat at the house. My name is Natalie Kendel, and I will be your host for today. In case you're new to our group, the house is a house church. We often get together on Saturdays for what is called Shabbat at the house, during which we celebrate Shabbat together. Here's a bit of what you can expect from your time with us this morning. We're going to be sharing some music and singing together. We'll talk with God and we'll be exploring a story found in Matthew chapter 5. So whether you're cozying up with a cup of tea or you're out enjoying the spring weather, we hope that your time spent here will be meaningful. I have a few pieces of information to share with you. Firstly, you are currently watching this video on our official YouTube channel. And if you'd like to subscribe, then you'll be alerted to future events and uploads, and you can go back and watch our stories and content whenever you'd like. Feel free to follow our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram. There we post what's happening and when, so you won't miss out. We are a nonprofit, so if you'd like to show your support and help us keep doing what we're doing, you can support us either through PayPal, the details of which are on the screen, or become a patron on our Patreon, where you'll have access to new and exclusive content. A special thanks today to our patron, Elizabeth. And even when you share and watch our videos online, you are supporting us there too. So thank you so much. Secondly, we'd like to share something we've mentioned previously called Read Aloud Corner. If you're interested in audiobooks and enjoy really good stories, Read Aloud Corner might just be something for you. We read and share free audiobooks for you to enjoy on YouTube. In the past, for example, I've read through the 7-book series, The Chronicles of Narnia, and I'm currently reading through the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. So if you're looking for a cozy end to your day or something to listen to while you're out, you can click on the YouTube playlist in the description below. I hope you enjoy listening. Sometimes we make recommendations here at the house. We might recommend books, various creators of video and music content. And today's warm recommendation is of a YouTuber called Lizzie Chi. Lizzie Chi is a Chinese YouTuber who lives with her grandmother in the wild mountains of Pingwu. Having been raised by her grandparents, she was taught a plethora of traditional Chinese craftsmanship, husbandry, cooking, and handiwork. And she brings us on the journey through her day, often accompanied by her pet lamb. If you're looking for wholesome, uplifting, visually gorgeous content, hers is the channel to check out. Every single video is like a work of art and of remarkable quality. So go check out Lizzie Chi's channel if that sounds appealing to you. You can find the link below. And lastly, for the information bits, the house has a special event coming up in June. Because this year, the day of Pentecost falls on the weekend of the 4th and 5th of June. And we here at the house are going to be celebrating it on Shabbat at the house for a two-part event called Shavuot. The first part will take place in the morning, the 4th of June, for our usual Shabbat at the house, starting from 11 a.m. And then part 2 will take place in the afternoon of that same day from 3 p.m., when the celebration will then continue. We will explore, among other things, the exciting story found in Acts chapter 10. We will sing together and more. You are most welcome to join us on that day, both in the morning and the afternoon. Don't worry if you don't know much or anything about what Pentecost is. That's completely fine. We'll also post about this event on our Facebook and Instagram before then as a reminder. So next week, on the 28th of May, we will be having a little break. There won't be any Shabbat at the house next week. But then in 2 weeks' time, we'll have our special day of Shavuot celebration. And we hope that you can celebrate Pentecost with us this year. We're now going to talk together with God after singing the song Pray With Me. I realize that prayer can have a difficult or complicated association for some of us. It can be an experience associated with disappointment, confusion, futility, and it may even have been forced on us like an empty ritual in the past. Whatever our experiences are with prayer, it's okay to be honest about those, and there's no need to pretend. After all, God doesn't invite us to be performers, and there's no need to force ourselves. If it has to do with a relationship, then force has no place in it. Instead, Jesus invites us to approach as we are, where we are, and if we'd like, even if that comes out just in the form of silence. Let's sing together, Pray With Me, and then those who like can join in with the prayer.
When we are feeling pain, if we are gripped by fear, when we are faced with difficult decisions, if we are caught in need, feeling anxiety, and there is one who gladly hears our thoughts. Come pray with me. There in a quiet place, or in the noise of the day, our heart can seek His wisdom when we lack it. Both in our thankfulness and in our days of doubt, the Spirit prays the groans we can't pronounce. Come pray with me to our Father, to the one who hears, who knows our every need. For our priest understands our trials. Pray with me. Come pray. And as we pray, may we learn to hear. Come pray with me to our Father, to the one who hears, who knows our every need. For our priest understands our trials. Pray with me. Come pray with me. For our priest understands our hearts. Pray with me. Come pray with me.
Jesus, I ask that you will inspire anyone who wishes to be today, whether it be with words of wisdom and guidance or with peace. You already know what is in our hearts, and what is there isn't too large or messy for you to handle. It never was. When it comes to you, you don't need us to sterilize our feelings or our thoughts. You've already said that anyone may come to you, and the words you spoke in John 6 are as real today as when you said them. Whoever comes to you, you will never turn away. God in heaven, for many there is much to be anxious about. Many are tired or lonely or hurting. You see how each person here feels this morning. Please bring a new wave of peace and comfort to us. Sit with us in our uncertainty. On this Shabbat, let us experience your shalom. Please meet our needs. Please forgive us for the harm that we have caused in this world. And give us the courage to be kind to ourselves and to others around us. We will now be quiet for a moment, and I ask that you will hear the silent prayers in our hearts. Thank you for joining in our prayer today and for singing as well. If you hear a song at Shabbat at the house that you'd like to hear again, All communal songs are available at nataliekendel.bandcamp.com. There you can download music and find similar songs as well. Some of you may recall we introduced a new segment a few weeks back called How to Be Image Bearers, and it looks at examples of the many creative and diverse ways people are living out God's love in the world and how we might do the same. Our example today is taken from Instagram, where @Orshi84 shares the following video. The footage is of a junior school basketball team's practice. One of the team's members has a physical disability, but that won't let his teammate keep him from helping his friend to play. Number 50, each time he receives the ball, hands it to number 0 and helps him shoot and eventually score. And the comment goes, "In a world where you can be anything, be a number 50. Let us be inspired by this loving example of inclusion and respect. We are going to dive into our story for today after singing Living Letters together.
They see you, and how does his love play out on your journey? You are the living letters there for others to read. You may be the only Bible they ever crack open. Your life is a scroll unrolling, telling a story of faith. Oh, let your life be
Our story today is found in Matthew chapter 5. The events spanning Matthew chapters 5 to 8 describe an event which is often referred to as the Sermon on the Mount. During these scenes, Jesus sees the crowds following him. He goes up a mountainside and sits down, and then he begins to teach his disciples many things. You may remember that previously here at the house, we looked at one of these lessons in the story called Tzedakah and Greek Theater. Well, today we are going to focus on another lesson Jesus taught his disciples in this same scene found in chapter 5, verse 13, wherein Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot." Of all the lessons Jesus teaches his followers, and of all the things he likens them to, this is perhaps one of the stranger ones. You are the salt of the earth. Why salt? Although this imagery likely has a multi-layered meaning, just as salt has multiple functions, one we're going to consider today is salt's function when it comes to taste. Because salt, although it has flavor in itself, has a central purpose when it comes to food and cooking, which is to bring out the flavor of other things. In meals, salt is used to enhance the other tastes, to bring out the flavor in other ingredients, and to preserve them. A couple of years ago, a woman shared a picture on Twitter that ended up going viral. She had gone over to visit her boyfriend at his apartment, and when she went into the kitchen, she caught sight of something cooking in the oven. Her boyfriend's roommate was cooking chicken breasts for his dinner, only this is what the chicken looked like. Devoid of any seasoning or oil of any kind. This quite humorously produced both shock and a fair amount of jokes across the internet as people reacted to this picture. Cooking chicken without so much as a dash of salt. Salt, as we said, strengthens the flavor already present in other foods. It brings out their taste. And as Jesus explained in verse 13, if salt loses its saltiness, it also loses its function as salt. Now, I've heard some interpret this verse as meaning, keep yourselves pure by separating yourselves from anyone who isn't a follower of Jesus, otherwise you might lose your unique saltiness and therefore be rendered useless and you'll be disregarded and thrown out. But is that what Jesus was saying? Keep yourselves separate to preserve your saltiness? Remember, salt's very objective comes into play when interacting with other things. It is in our interaction with other tastes, other flavors, that our saltiness function becomes purposeful and consequential. Salt's use is not to merely make everything taste like one thing. Instead, it's to make everything taste better and more like itself. Those who follow Jesus are not meant to merely put their own flavor on other people. In other words, not to make others exactly like me, for who would like a meal which tasted entirely of salt? There can be a tendency to become focused on symbolically dressing God's so-called team up in one color, superimposing an apparition of unity, but which is in fact uniformity, where everything looks and tastes and sounds the same, where a person's legitimacy of being Jesus' disciple is being squeezed into a narrow box made up of local cultural rules and man-made status quos. And yet, the same Jesus who created the vast array of tastes and colors and variations, personalities, minds, passions, and diversities in the world, also created the great diversity that is human beings. And following him doesn't mean erasing those colors, but magnifying them. Uniformity means being the same, not changing, or being different in any way. While unity is the state of being united or joined as a whole, a thing forming a complex whole. So when Jesus likens his followers to salt, he isn't asking us to pressure others into tasting exactly the same as us, or to enforce uniformity. In fact, this is what he's warning his followers not to do, what they must never become. Instead, he invites his disciples to work as enhancers on earth, to bring out and nourish the good, delicious, rich, beautiful, good things in the world, to help amplify in others what God has already placed in them and is in the process of placing in them, to celebrate the flavors in the medley of human beings. Perhaps this is part of what it means to be salt in the world. And having this understanding can help shift our focus from us attempting to improve other people by making them carbon copies of us, because what is that doing? It's creating other people in our image. And that leads to a blandness, an insipid, pointless, crushing exercise. Instead, we can identify, treasure, encourage, uphold, and help bring out the fantastic essences the Creator placed in his creations around us. To say to another, I see these beautiful things in you, to invest in them, to mentor, to enable, empower them to be their beautiful and unique selves. What are some of the ways that you and I can be salty today, in the next week, in the next year, in our communities, in our homes, in our friend groups? How can we facilitate bringing out the best flavors around us and ask others, what do you love? What are your passions? What dreams do you want to chase? What things are you excited about, and how can I support that? Jesus, save us from losing our saltiness. Save us from our very great tendency to fear diversity or what is different from ourselves, and from creating a mass production of robots through pressure, bullying, indoctrinating. Help us not to demand our children to think and act like us, or bar the way for anyone who approaches you, but whom we feel doesn't conform to the narrow demands we often create in religious settings. May Jesus inspire us to bring out the good things in the world, and to swap out any tendencies of uniformity and rigid homogenizing with loving and upholding his vibrant tapestry. As we think about these things, let's sing together unity versus uniformity.
Maker of
Thank you so much for joining us at Shabbat at the house today. I hope that all that talk of food and saltiness didn't make you too hungry, and if it did, that you can now go and enjoy a good lunch. Or if you're in a different time zone, perhaps a clandestine midnight snack. I also hope that this week your uniqueness is appreciated and seen. And may you all be assured that you're immensely special and worth celebrating and including. Let us treat others the same way as well. May our Lord Shalom go with you. See you next time.
Come, create.